Assalamu alaikum, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. We'll just wait a few more minutes for more people to join before we start with some Quran, inshallah.
إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. إذا السماء انفطرت وإذا الكواكب انتثرت وإذا البحار فجرت وإذا البحار فجرت وإذا القبور بعثرت علمت نفس ما قدمت وأخرت. يا أيها الإنسان ما غرك بربك الكريم الذي خلقك يا أيها الإنسان ما غرك بربك الكريم الذي خلقك فسواك فعدلك يا أيها الإنسان ما غرك بربك الكريم الذي خلقك فسواك فعدلك في أي صورة ما شاء ركبك كلا بل تكذبون بالدين وإن عليكم لحافظين كراما كاتبين كراما كاتبين يعلمون ما تفعلون إن الأبرار لفي نعيم وإن الفجار لفي جحيم إن الأبرار لفي نعيم وإن الفجار لفي جحيم يصلونها يوم الدين وما هم عنها بغائبين وما أدراك ما يوم الدين ثم ما أدراك ما يوم الدين يوم لا تملك نفس لنفس شيئا يوم لا تملك نفس لنفس شيئا والأمر يومئذ لله بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم إنا أنزلناه في ليلة القدر وما أدراك ما ليلة القدر ليلة القدر خير من 1000 شهر تنزل الملائكة والروح فيها بإذن ربهم من كل أمر سلام هي حتى مطلع الفجر بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والضحى والليل إذا سجى ما ودعك ربك وما قلى والضحى سجى ما ودعك ربك وما قلى وللآخرة خير لك من الأولى ولسوف يعطيك ربك فترضى ألم يجدك يتيما فآوى ووجدك ضالا فهدى ووجدك ضالا فهدى ووجدك عائلا فأغنى فأما اليتيم فلا تقهر وأما السائل فلا تنهر وأما بنعمة ربك فحدث الله أكبر الله أكبر بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم إنا أعطيناك الكوثر إنا أعطيناك الكوثر فصل لربك وانحر إن شانئك هو الأبتر صدق الله العلي العظيم. الفاتحة. تسبقه الصلاة على محمد وآل محمد. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.
Thank you so much for such a beautiful recitation. We will now be introducing today's speaker. For those who missed him earlier on in the series, Sheikh Afzal Mirali is a renowned scholar who specializes in history and general sciences. He has master's qualifications in both Quranic sciences as well as tafsir, and will soon be undertaking a further master's degree in rational science. Sheikh Afzal has spent 10 years in Beirut as well as 5 years in Qom, and had the opportunity to meet with some of Shahid Sadr's students. Alhamdulillah, today we have the opportunity for him to speak to us on some lessons we can take from Hazrat Ali Akbar and apply to our own lives. Just a reminder before we begin, we are live on YouTube and Instagram, and if you have any questions during the talk, please do send them in, and inshallah at the end we will have time to have them answered. Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh.
وعليكم السلام ورحمة الله.
How are you?
الحمد لله رب العالمين. عظم الله أجوركم إن شاء الله.
Alhamdulillah. Please, Sheikh, whenever you're ready.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان اللعين الرجيم بفضل الله بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين بارئ الخلائق أجمعين باعث الأنبياء والمرسلين ثم الصلاة والتم التسليم على المبعوث رحمة للعالمين سيدنا ومولانا أبي القاسم المصطفى محمد وعلى آل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين لا سيما بقية الله في الأرضين روحي وأرواح العالمين لترى بمقدمه الفداء أما بعد فقد قال الله تبارك وتعالى في الذكر الحكيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم كل نفس ذائقة الموت وإنما توفون أجوركم يوم القيامة فمن زحزح عن النار وأدخل الجنة فقد فاز وما الحياة الدنيا إلا متاع الغرور صدق الله العلي العظيم. My dear brothers and sisters, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. I extend my condolences to you all again, and first of all to the Imam of our time, Ajrallahu Ta'ala Farajahu Sharif, on the occasion of the days of Muharram and the martyrdom of the Imam Hussein alayhi salam, his companions and his family members. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's blessings and mercy be upon them all. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Holy Quran in Surah Al-Imran, verse number 185, every soul will taste death, and you will only be given your full compensation on the day of resurrection. So he who is drawn away from the fire and admitted to paradise has attained their desire. And what is the life of this world except enjoyment of delusion? Today's topic is lessons from the life of the youth of the martyrs of Karbala, Ali al-Akbar, salamullahi ta'ala alayhim. I will start by, first of all, just like the methodology I used the last time, diving into the biography, a short biography of Ali al-Akbar alayhi salam, some historical facts, and after that we will try to deduce some lessons from the life of Ali al-Akbar salamullahi alayhi and his participation in the uprising of Imam Hussein alayhi salam, and what relevant lessons can we learn from him that we can apply practically in our lives today. First of all, Ali al-Akbar alayhi salam was born, according to the famous opinion, he was born in the year 33 after Hijrah, on the 11th of Sha'ban, and of course he was martyred on in the year 61 AH on the 10th of Ashura, on the 10th of Muharram, on the day of Ashura. His full name, of course, is Ali ibn al-Hussein ibn Ali ibn Abi Talib alayhi salam, and he is well known as Ali al-Akbar because Imam Hussein alayhi salam had more than one son with the name of Ali, like Imam Zain al-Abidin, Ali al-Sajjad, and also Ali al-Asghar alayhi salam, who there is a difference of opinion that was Ali al-Asghar alayhi salam, the same that we know, the baby who was also martyred, Abdullah, the infant, or was Ali al-Asghar alayhi salam of a bigger age. Ali al-Akbar alayhi salam, he, as we know, he is buried, of course, after being the first martyr from Banu Hashim. He, after fighting with the enemies and of course killing scores of them, defending the religion of his grandfather and the Imam alayhi salam and his family members, Ali al-Akbar salamullahi alayhi, he was martyred, and today he is buried within the shrine of Imam Hassan alayhi salam. He is buried next or by the feet of his father within the darih of Imam Hassan alayhi salam. So on the chest of Imam Hassan alayhi salam, or by his chest, is buried Ali al-Asghar, or the child, the infant, Abdullah al-Radiya. And by his feet, we have Ali al-Akbar, salamullahi alayhi. Of course, this opinion that I just mentioned, the fact that, of course, many of us here from the pulpit, from the member, some of the reciters, they mentioned that he was an 18-year-old youth. Of course, this is a weaker opinion. It is mentioned by Sheikh al-Mufid, although more narrations support the fact that he was older than this, and he was even older than Ali, Imam al-Sajjad alayhi salam, Imam Zain al-Abidin. If we have a look at the personality of Ali al-Akbar alayhi salam, he was known to be, I will just use this, that he was the most resembling person or member of Ahlul Bayt alayhi salam, who resembled the Holy Prophet in his features and his facial features and the way he looked and his body and his characteristics and his traits. in addition to the fact that the way he would talk and the way he would think, his mentality. His mother was, of course, Layla bin Abi Murrah bin Urwa bin Mas'ud al-Thaqafi. So she was from Ta'if, she was from out of Medina. And this tribe of Thaqif, they were known to be people who were brave. They were brave warriors and brave fighters among the Arabs. And the grandfather of Ali al-Akbar alayhi salam he himself was a shaheed. So when the Holy Prophet went to Ta'if to proclaim and to propagate Islam and he returned, this person by the name, like I mentioned, Abu Murrah, that is to say Urwa, the grandfather of Ali al-Akbar, the maternal grandfather, he returned following the Holy Prophet and he met up with him, he caught up with him in Medina, he embraced Islam, and then he told the Holy Prophet, I would like to return to my people and to propagate Islam amongst them. Of course, the Holy Prophet told him that you will be martyred, they will kill you if you do so. And he said, it is okay, I am ready to accept this fate. He returned and he was also martyred. So to embrace or to support the cause of Islam, it was something that was in the genes of Ali al-Akbar salamullahi alayhi. And of course, Al-Mukhtar al-Thaqafi, who thereafter took revenge for the Shuhada of Karbala in general, and for Imam Hassan alayhi salam, he himself was a first cousin of Al-Mukhtar. Or Mukhtar was a cousin of Ali al-Akbar salamullahi alayhi. So you can know the family, how it is. Ali al-Akbar, his physical features, he was medium heighted and he had broad shoulders. He had a whitish complexion that also had he had pink or reddish cheeks, and his eyes were black and he had thick eyebrows. When he would walk, it is as if he would be flowing from the ground, and as if not flowing from the ground, but rising from the ground, as if a spring it is shooting from the ground. And when he would turn towards somebody or look towards somebody, he would turn with all of his body, not only with his face or his gaze, with all of his body. And of course, he would look at the ground more so than looking towards the sky. And he had a beautiful bodily scent to him that resembled the scent of musk and amber as well, and amber. Ali al-Akbar alayhi salam, a couple of points. It is said that he was married. There is this famous opinion, and he also had a child and his son as well. It is said that he was also martyred on the plain of Ashura, on the plain of Karbala. And amongst the details that are mentioned about Ali al-Akbar alayhi salam, of course, is the fact that when Imam Hussein salamullahi alayhi, he was traveling towards Kufa at that time, and they reached a place called Qasr Bani Muqatil. Imam Hussein alayhi salam, of course, ordered all of the people that had come with them to fetch water and to drink, and at the same time as well to make at the same time to also to give to the mounts, that is to say to the horses, etc. Everything finished, they were leaving. Imam Hussein alayhi salam was now on his horseback. As he was on his horseback, all of a sudden Imam Hussein alayhi salam, as if he slept for a few seconds, but he was in the plane that is between sleeping and being awake. So he was in the spiritual plane, in the metaphysical shuhudi plane. And he saw a rider on a horseback, and he was saying as follows, that the people are walking, and death is walking, their deaths are walking towards them. People are walking, meaning the caravan of Imam Hussein alayhi salam. At that, the Imam alayhi salam, he said, Alhamdulillah, and inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un, as he awoke. Ali al-Akbar alayhi salam, he turns towards the Imam and he asks him that, oh father, why did you, mimma hamatta wastarja'at, that why did you say Alhamdulillah and inna lillah? At that, Imam alayhi salam, he told Ali al-Akbar that this was what he saw in his spiritual vision. And one thing to note is that normally an Imam does not inform of his spiritual visions and his kashf to anybody. An Imam, especially his own kashf and shuhud, he does not inform it to anybody. There has to be somebody very trustworthy and at a really high level of faith for the Imam to give them this type of information. So Ali al-Akbar alayhi salam, you can understand what high level of piety he had. And it also manifests from what he responded. When he said this, when the Imam said that we are going to die, this is what I see. Ali al-Akbar alayhi salam, he says, Ya abata, that la araka Allahu su'an alasna ala al-haq, that, oh Father, may you never see anything negative. Are we not following the truth? Are we not on the truth, on the true path? Imam alayhi salam says, Bala, walladhi ilayhi marja'ul bilad. Yes, of course. Then Ali Akbar responds his famous response. He says, Ya abata, or Ya abati idhan la nubali, that we don't care then, oh Father. Inna namuta muhaqqin. If we are going to die as we follow the path of the truth, then there is no problem in that. As long as we're following the truth. Akbar alayhi salam, of course, he went on the day of Ashura and he fought in the battlefield. That these verses of poetry that whenever I recite, they break my heart. It's just remembering the bravery of Ali al-Akbar salamullahi alayhi, that when he went and he said, Ana Ali ibn al-Husayn ibn Ali, that I am Ali ibn al-Husayn ibn Ali, nahnu wa baytillahi, ونحن وبيت الله أولى بالنبي, that we by the house of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala are closer to the Holy Prophet. تالله لا يحكم فينا ابن الدعي, that I swear by Allah, the son of the Da'i, he who claims to be the son of Abu Sufyan, that is to say Ubaidullah ibn Ziyad, he was not a true son, but Muawiyah said that he is my father's son, illegitimate, ma'adallah. So he was claiming to be the son of Abu Sufyan. So this claimer will never rule over us. أضرب بالسيف أحامي عن أبي, that I will strike you with my sword defending my father. ضرب غلام هاشمي علوي, that I will strike you with the strike of a Hashimi and Alawi youth. Ali al-Akbar alayhi salam, of course, the way he was martyred and the way Imam Hussein alayhi salam, even he was bidding him farewell, that he walked with him. Some of the reciters, they say that as Ali al-Akbar was walking towards the battlefield, and he was going, of course, on his mount, on the horse, Dhul Janah. Imam Hussein alayhi salam was walking behind him. So Ali al-Akbar turns towards his father and he asks him, oh father, do you not trust me? Why are you following me? What is it? So Imam Hussein alayhi salam tells him that if you had a son like yourself, you would know and you would understand why I am going behind you and bidding you farewell. Ali al-Akbar, what can we learn? What lessons can we learn from this particular youth and this exceptional shaheed from Ahlul Bayt? My lecture today, of course, is actually lessons from the life of Ali al-Akbar, an approach. It has many different elements. In order to keep with my time, I will ponder or deliberate over three elements of what I believe to be part and an essential core of an activistic mentality. Firstly, responsibility. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Holy Quran, in Surah Al-Ahzab, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, وَلَقَدْ كَانُوا عَاهَدُوا اللَّهَ مِنْ قَبْلُ لَا يُوَلُّونَ الْأَدْبَارِ وَكَانَ عَهْدُ اللَّهِ مَسْئُولًا. And they had already promised Allah before that not to turn their backs and flee. And the promise of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is something that they will be questioned about. Ali al-Akbar salamullahi alayhi, we find that he was a youth, but he understood that there is a sense of responsibility for me to stand by my father, to protect and to strive to raise the banner of Islam and the true religion and the path of my grandfather, the Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Today, we as youth, and I unfortunately, when I see this amongst many of our youth, I find that we are mostly engrossed in how do I look, what is the newest haircut, and especially the new haircut with a lot of hair on top, and that does not even, I don't know how it is appealing, and maybe it could be also uncomfortable sometimes, but for example, thinking about hairstyle, gel and this and that, or what is the latest phone, do I have all of the applications, and I find that we are focusing on vain things that will not take us forward a lot. On the other hand, we also face many challenges. We also face many problems, all right? Whether we do as people and a community living in Western countries, or on the other hand, our Muslim Ummah in general, okay? Just look at the crisis, for example, right now in Yemen and Lebanon and many different parts of the Muslim world as well. If you were to go higher or to a higher level, then even look at humanity in general, look at what is being faced right now with the coronavirus. Of course, UNICEF is saying that we could be facing a famine this year due to the fact that the harvest and the crops, they have not met the needs of different countries, etc. So that we have so many challenges. Now, to focus only on things that are not as important, it diverts our attention from that which is important, that which we can spend our energy in. All right. Ali al-Akbar salamullah alayhi, even though he was in his prime, he was a youth in his prime, and he was handsome. All right. He was handsome. And he was pious, and he had everything going for him. He was brave, extremely brave. But what did Ali al-Akbar alayhi salam, what did he do? He bore this responsibility. We have a rule that whatever traits and characteristics you have and you constantly, whatever behavior you constantly practice in your youth, when you become older, this will now be a part of your nature. It will remain a part of your personality. So if we focus on this vain stuff, except by some miracle or maybe a really strong expression of will, a practice of will, otherwise this will continue. Don't think that you will automatically change, that I'm just passing by my teenage years and I'm focusing on this and that. Responsibility start by me as and our community. Think of my responsibility toward the Imam of our time, alayhi salam. All right, he is in ghaiba because of me and you, because we unfortunately have not been worthy. Just to be plain, to be frank, because me and you unfortunately were sleeping. So think about our responsibility. To have that sense of responsibility, that what can I do? What can I do in order to help others, my community? What part can I play? So this is the first thing, the sense of responsibility. And thinking about what I can do. Think about the challenges, the problems, and what I can do to help. Secondly, initiative. I have now, after feeling that sense of responsibility, now I want to take part. Sometimes there is a framework and there is a certain infrastructure that is already there, which I can take part in. I can take part in order to put my youth imprint on it, my youth fingerprints on it. I should always strive to take things to a better level. Don't only continue the status quo. Don't think that, okay, for example, if I were to go and to be one of the volunteers who works in the youth club, and we have continuously been having for the past couple of decades, we have sports, so we'll just continue like that. Before it was somebody else who has become older now, who was always booking, for example, let's say whatever sports center, now I will book it. No, we have to think about how can I take things forward? How can I make things more interesting? So this sense of initiative now, I need to take things forward. Secondly, imagine that there is no infrastructure for a new idea that you may have. Okay. Ali al-Akbar alayhi salam, what did he do? He took the initiative. The ashab and companions have been martyred. He took the initiative and he came to his father and he asked for permission, and he was the first from Banu Hashim to be martyred. Okay. So previously, like I said, I talked about in my last lecture, I talked about initiatives and I talked about programs and an umbrella union for Ahl al-Bayt, all of the different university unions, etc., an umbrella organization that can give suggestions to the different Ahl al-Bayt society, individual societies in the different universities, and to help coordinate, etc. Now I'm talking about the communities, okay? And I'm talking about now positive programs and activities that we can do in the framework of our own communities to start with. And one aspect that I find is very necessary is that we need to take the initiative within the framework of our own communities, take and pull our communities to explaining and introducing the message of Imam Hussein alayhi salam to the wider non-Muslim community, the wider non-Muslim society. Because I believe there are many similarities in what Christians believe, the message of Nabi Isa alayhi salam was and what happened to him, and what we know of the history of Imam Hussein alayhi salam and how he was martyred. So because of many of these similarities, the general message, social justice, etc., and of course that spiritual dimension to it, I believe that it can lead to a level of acceptance and knowing and appreciation of the message of Imam Hussein alayhi salam. Thirdly is the matter of ideology. Now, I mentioned the incident where Imam Hussein was in Qasr Bani Muqatil, and when he saw that vision, and then when he told Ali al-Akbar, I mentioned this on purpose. Ali al-Akbar alayhi salam, he had an ideology. He had a certain belief. He had a vision and a belief considering life, what life in this world is. So to him, he said that I don't care as long as we're following the truth, if we die. And according to other narrations, whether we go to death or death comes to us, it's not important as long as we're following the truth. This ideology, of course, it has many facets and it has many different elements, one of which is our perception of death. What is death? When you think about what death is in reality, then you will now start to have a proper concept of what life is, life in this dunya is. Ali al-Akbar, he knew the fact that death is only a bridge, okay? Death, according to our narrations, we have different words that are used for it. Qantara is a bridge that is over a river or over water, or a jisr, a general bridge, okay? Even if it's not underwater, above water. But death is considered to be a bridge. When I understand the reality of death, I will be able to live in this life by now properly knowing the reality of life, what it is, why am I living, and then I'll be able to set my priorities according to that. I will be able to set my priorities. I will have even more strength. How so? More spiritual, more patience, more spiritual strength and level, with the fact that if I am faced with any calamities of this world, I will, through the power of my will and understanding of what this life is and what this calamity is, I will be able to overcome it. All right. Imagine, for example, somebody going to a dentist. All right. I was at a dentist yesterday. So imagine going to the dentist, okay, and for you to have a few injections. Now, a person who's going there for the first time, they don't have any back information, any information about what these injections are. If they have some, the big problem is, say, 1 injection, 2, 3, 4, 5, they say, what is this dentist doing? He's just causing me pain. Why is he doing this? But if you have the bigger picture, that this is an anesthetic so that you don't feel more pain later on when he starts to actually do his job, then you will be able to bear it. It will be more bearable for you. The same is with regards to death. In our narrations, death, just to simplify it, it is a path that we all need to take, in which a person's attachment and connection, or actually a person's connection, the connection of the soul with this body, just to be a side note, the soul is not inside the body, because the soul is immaterial and this body is material. You can't put something immaterial that does not have time and space. You can't put it inside something that is limited by time and space. So the soul is connected. It controls the body, and the connection is severed from your feet upwards. Okay, the connection, but it is not inside it. Now, death is the severing of this connection from this body, and there are two opinions of what we have in the hereafter, in the barzakh. The first is the fact that from this body and from this reality, a different body is derived with characteristics conformant to the barzakh, a little bit freer and looser in terms of time and space, able to bear able to bear the enjoyments and the pleasures of that world, or the adhab of that world, okay? Or that totally without referring to this body, there is just another body over there that is not related to this body. It resembles this body, but it is not derived from this body, okay? And that world over there, that body over there, and this is actually, I consider this second opinion to be more stronger. So the soul is connected to that body then, temporarily until the day of Qiyamah. Death is not non-existence. So you do not become non-existent. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created us for continuance, for us to continuously live. So we are here forever now. The same perception that me and you have, you can feel me, you can feel it, that is going to continue. The only thing is that this feeling of this body is going to be detached, it is going to be severed. So this is death. Now, when I understand that death is going to come, I need to see then, why is this coming? Why is this severing of attachment going to happen? It is because of the fact that I am currently in the dunya, and this dunya has been created for trials and tests, and for me to strive to carve more and more perfections into my soul. And when I reach the akhirah, this soul, it will have all of these perfections which will manifest as if emanate like a ray from the soul, okay? And the reality of the soul will be shown over there. If it is bad, then I will see the adhab as if emanating from me, okay? And if it is good, then I will see all of the good. Why do some people fear death? It is either because of the fact that they, excuse me, either we have weak faith, and we unfortunately don't believe sometimes that who will come from death, come back from the hereafter and tell us about this. All of these narrations, these Maulanas, they go and talk about all of this stuff. So unfortunately, some people have weakness of faith. Secondly, we have connection and love of this dunya. I really, really love this dunya. I love my cars or my home or my family, etc. And I just don't want to leave it. The thing is, in the akhirah, whatever pleasures you have over here, you can have them, all right? You want a Range Rover, you have a Range Rover over here, you can have a Range Rover over there, okay? The roads over there are going to be far better than here, okay? Inshallah, you won't have any traffic limits or lights or whatever, or speed restrictions. The akhirah can have the same pleasures of the dunya, but it also has so many more pleasures and reward that no heart of a human or jinn has even thought about, to that extent. Thirdly, it is because of the fact that we are full of sins. We have sinned so much that we are now afraid to face the result of the akhirah. How do I prepare myself for death then, in order to live with Ali al-Akbar alayhi salam and Shuhada Karbala? I will end with this, is the fact that first of all, we need to learn about the reality of what death is. Death is what I explained to you. Death is, it is not non-existence. It is only severing of attachment from this world. We go to the other world. In the other world, time, we don't feel it as much as we do over here. So 100 years of the dunya will pass. We will still be being in the grave, being asked by Munkar and Nakir, what are you doing? To that extent, we will feel that they've just buried us. All of your relatives will already have come over there. All of your loved ones. And whatever pleasures we have over here, we can also have them over there if we act according to what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has ordered us. First of all, to know what death is. Secondly, to now practically start to work. So this has two levels. The first thing is that we need to perform our wajibat, obligations, salat, and leave those things which are haram. And finally, we need to strive to reach a level which is called al-unsu bil-maut, or al-isti'nas bil-maut. Imam Ali alayhi salam, what does he say? That لابن أبي طالب آنس بالموت من الطفل الرضيع بثدي أمه. That is to say that Ali bin Abi Talib, the son of Abu Talib, is more comfortable with death than a nursing baby, than a nursing and a feeding child. But imagine this. This is through taking this to a further level, performing the mustahabbat, our du'as, dua kumail, constantly doing and reciting salawat, even mustahab salawat, and the Holy Quran, dhikr and tasbih, always to remember Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and to remember death, constantly to remember death. Even though in the Western world, a person who thinks about death and is okay with it, you are looked to, the general look of the public or the people in general will be that this guy has a few screws loose in his mind. But no, unfortunately, this second mentality or this mentality that they have, it's really unrealistic because everybody is going to die. You can't pretend that you're not going to die. Every single body is going to die, correct? So it is better for me to prepare, to be prepared and to be okay with my fate in the future. And at that, one of the practical ways of actually being exposed to this is that I do advise in our cities. We, of course, inshallah, after the COVID-19 crisis passes, for the youth to take part in the ghusl and kafan takfeen committees at least once, to wash a mayyit and to see that this is going to be our future. We are going to be in the same place, just like this person laying there. There is no, according to our narrations, la wa'idha kal maut. There is no admonisher as death. For you to see them, to wash them, the lifeless body, you will then think about yourself. All of the things that I'm thinking about, all of this makeup that I'm thinking about, all of this perfume and looking, trying to look good and attractive to the others, etc. All of this, I'm going to be going. I have to think about making my soul attractive, making my mind attractive, and not only the outside. I'm not saying that don't do that. The outside, according to the boundaries of Islam, of course, it is mustahab to be presentable. On the contrary, but not by transgressing the boundaries of halal and haram. And also, finally, to constantly visit the graves, okay? To visit the cemeteries in order to recite Fatiha for our marhumin. To constantly visit them, it is something mustahab. And especially when there is a mayyit being buried, of course, after inshallah the COVID-19 pandemic, it is really necessary. It will take a person to another level. I mean, even your personality will become stronger, more mature. This way, or being like this and having the strength to work and to embody the ideology of Ali al-Akbar alayhi salam, I'm not only saying that we need to, and I'm not trying to give you just a pep talk in that only just for you to mentally motivate yourself that we need to be like Ali al-Akbar alayhi salam. If we follow the path of Ali al-Akbar in the wajibat and the mustahabbat, etc., we will have a stronger will. How can you strengthen your will? Is it only through mentally motivating yourself? No, there are far deeper secrets of the soul, or the metaphysics of the soul, and how willpower is related to it, and how to strengthen it to a level that you cannot feel pain to that extent. You cannot feel the pains of calamities. To that extent, is it possible? Yes, it is possible. How so? Inshallah, I will mention this in our lecture the day after tomorrow, inshallah, just to leave this as a cliffhanger. And inshallah, I'm open to the questions, inshallah.
Thank you so much for such a powerful and varying talk. We did receive a few questions. The first of which is, in many recitations, it mentions Hazrat Ali Akbar was not married. Why is this?
Of course, there's a difference of opinion in history, and it depends on which narration you take. I mean, one of the things that needs to be seen is that quite a few of our mu'arrikhin, our historians, they did not receive all of the detailed informations. We have quite a lot of texts and manuscripts that were just burnt and we lost. So there is a huge corpus of detailed and more accurate and accurate information that we have lost. So by looking at that information and those narrations that we do have practically in front of us, there is a difference of opinion. So the narration of Shaykh al-Mufid places Ali al-Akbar to be of a younger age, but the more stronger narrations, they place him to be of an elder age. And if he was approximately 27 years, then that does mean that Ali al-Akbar alayhi salam, of course, he was married. And of course, I will mention the fact that there are certain sources. I mean, last time I was asked that who else was martyred from Banu Hashim or from Ahl al-Bayt alayhim salam. I've got the names right now. There is the famous opinion of the 17 names, but then there are certain sources that mention other shuhada as well. And even shuhada of Karbala, the famous number that we hear, of course, it's quite unfortunate that sometimes we only restrict ourselves to what we listen to on the pulpit. Sometimes we have scholars speaking, sometimes we have people who are not well versed in these researches, but who speak and who orate. Now, this actually limits the knowledge that that is disseminated, or that our youth and our mu'mineen they receive. Although there is a famous opinion that this is not only 72. There is another opinion that places them between 72 to 155 shuhada from the camp of Imam Hussein alayhi salam. Because Imam Hussein, when he originally was going towards Kufa, he had approximately 1,200 people with him. But as the people were coming to know that he's not going over there for spoils and for war booty, etc., then slowly people started to leave him. Okay, but so according to this opinion, then there was approximately between 72 to 155. So I'll mention the names just shortly after receiving another question.
Of course. The next question is, there is shown to be an extremely close relationship between Hazrat Ali Akbar and Imam Hussein alayhi salam. How can we foster such a relationship between us and our children?
Of course, this is quite a deep topic, and there are many different aspects or elements to this art to answer this. First of all, we have a type of tarbiyah or parenting which is called, of course, there are different methods of parenting which are all necessary and they all need to be applied. Amongst them, for example, tarbiyah through love and affection, parenting through love and affection, and parenting through artistic skills, etc., etc. Parenting through love is something that we, in our narrations, is very much emphasized, and this is manifested if we have a look, for example, narrations that say that if a person kisses their child, then he has such and such reward. If a person embraces their child, they have such and such reward. Okay, so to create this affectionate relationship with the child from the very young age, by playing with them especially and giving them time, answering their questions, however silly they may seem to me and you as elders, even if they may be repetitive. Knowing what we need to teach them. Amongst, of course, the roles or the approaches to parenting, or the methods of parenting, is parenting through role models or role modeling. A parent himself needs to be good with their own parents, and the grandparents of the child, and the child needs to see that. As a result, the child will deal with you and interact with you in the same way that you interact with your parents. Okay, so this is something that our children need to see. To be soft and gentle and lenient with our children, and at the same time to accept whatever little they do and to always encourage them, not to be really, I mean, to be very harsh with them. Sometimes, for example, if they're facing difficulties, to be understanding. So the answer to this, of course, is there's so many points to be mentioned, but to focus on parenting with love and to be the same with our own parents as well. As a result, our children will be like that. And to emphasize, one of the, of course, the methods of parenting is also parenting through playing. playing with the children. Playing with the children and letting the children play, of course, but in an environment that you are in control of. You as a parent, you need to play with your children as well. You need to find something that you engage in with your children. Not maybe every game you can play with your children, but you need to play with your children from a young age. In their younger years, you play with them. As they grow older, then you accompany them, you take them around, you spend your time with them. This is possible to foster. And recently there was a course with AIM that I did, which was on parenting methods and values. And I talked about this in that. Inshallah, hopefully within a few weeks, when everything is ready, I can share with you the notes and the slides that we had discussed. And the person who asked the question, inshallah, they can. I would be happy to share these with them as well.
Inshallah, perfect. Thank you so much. Our next question is, how can we bring back focus from material things and shift it towards what our true responsibilities should be?
Of course, this needs, first of all, for a person to take the decision. So first of all, start by having a general ideology and outlook of what this world is. Okay. After you understand the value, the fact that this dunya, it does not have much value. And in our narrations that if this dunya had just the value of the wing of a mosquito, the value of a wing of a mosquito before Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then Allah would not have allowed a non-believer to drink from the water of this world. To that extent, okay? This dunya, and amongst the narrations that I said, that this dunya is such that it does not have any rank, and it is the only plane, existential plane or level of creation, of existence, in which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala can be disobeyed. Imagine, right? It is that valueless, it is that low. First of all, to understand, then just to come to the answer, understand what this dunya is. Okay, read upon it, read in the books, research a little bit, recite the Holy Quran, read the Holy Quran. Secondly, now come to apply. Okay, and spiritually, you see, carrying out ibadat, even opening the books of mustahabbat, I found that these have a really, really strong effect on the soul and in strengthening the willpower. I will explain this more, inshallah, in my final lecture. Finally, know this: it is not your possession of material things which is considered to be negative and discouraged in Islam. It is your attachment to these things. Okay, it is not makruh for a mu'min to have a beautiful mansion in this world. No, on the contrary, in our narrations, it is one of the ni'mas, it is one of the blessings. If, for instance, if you go to the house of Imam Khomeini, right, in Qum, mashallah, compare it to other houses of Qum, when he received that inheritance, mashallah, he bought a really big house. Okay, and of course, part of it was for his family, part of it was for people who would come. He was a mujtahid, he was a marja. Although Imam Khomeini was not attached to this world, he was not attached to it at all. Today, this same house, it has become waqf, an endowment for the office of Ayatollah Khamenei in Qom, one of the offices. As a result, it is not discouraged, negative for me to possess all of these things. On the contrary, we as Muslims and we as followers of Ahlul Bayt need, and it is necessary for us not to look as weak. Not to look as weak. We have to look strong. We have to be strong. Okay? Knowledge-wise, socially, what positions we have, even politically, etc. In whichever country we live in, even in the UK, even in the US, etc. Okay? However, we should not be attached, our heart should not be attached to these things. These things should only be means, wasa'il, okay, and tools. And these things should only be tools for what we need to achieve. To the extent that if I lose something, let's say, for example, if I had one house and something happened, or the house burned, khair, inshallah. If this house burned, I'll buy another house. It's just a house. It's not that I should be attached. Oh God, I had so many sentimental memories in this house, and I really want it, and I'm going to try to do 1, 2, 3. Ya khair, inshallah. This dunya, it goes. It's not a problem. And the akhirah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala can give you the same house back and everything that you want, all your sentimental, emotional memories, whatever you had, and everything, Allah can give them to you over there. Okay? So don't be attached to this dunya. So this is the main focus. Otherwise, to have that misunderstanding that I shouldn't have dunya, this leads to Sufism. This is not the path of Ahlul Bayt. It is not. Imam Ali alayhi salam, according to our narrations, he used to give tens of thousands of dirhams and even dinars of sadaqah monthly. Imam Ali was known to be an entrepreneur. He was the founder of the port of Yunbu in Hijaz today, by the Red Sea. Okay, he was the one who created it. Imam Ali alayhi salam, also he dug 80 wells. Muawiyah came to buy just one of these wells from Imam al-Hassan. If I'm not mistaken, he offered him 80,000 dinars for it. Imam Hassan alayhi salam refused. Imam Ali would dig them. He was also an agricultural engineer, Imam alayhi salam. He knew the quality of different types of sand and of soils and what could be grown over there. So whenever Imam Ali, there would be a plot of land, of course, a dead plot of land, nobody was using, he would come, fix it, make it ready for agriculture, etc. And when he would come, it would be ready. Imam would sell it and then give its money for sadaqah, or as waqf for a tribe or for a few families for a particular neighborhood. So it is said in our narrations that whenever this would happen, the fuqara and the poor people would always become happy. So we will say, oh, now we're going to be able to eat. Imam alayhi salam is going to be giving sadaqah very soon.
Thank you so much for all of those answers. We do have a few more questions, but unfortunately we've run out of time. So inshallah, Sheikh.
If I could then just quickly mention just these names of the shuhada that we were asked last time. These are also good for us to also know, so that we can know that how they were divided in Banu Hashim. From Banu Hashim, we had, of course, Ali al-Akbar alayhi salam, and he, of course, is mentioned in many sources. Is well known that he was martyred. Amongst the martyrs as well, we have Abdullah bin Ali bin Abi Talib alayhi salam, the son of al-Banin. Okay. We had Ja'far bin Abi Talib bin Ali bin Abi Talib alayhi salam, son of al-Banin again. We had Uthman bin Ali bin Abi Talib again, son of al-Banin. We had Muhammad al-Asghar, okay, son of Imam Ali alayhi salam. Muhammad al-Asghar, the son of Imam Ali alayhi salam. He was, his mother was Asma bint Umays. We had Al-Abbas bin Ali bin Abi Talib alayhi salam, son of al-Banin. We had Abdullah ibn al-Hussein, son of Imam Hussein alayhi salam, the infant. His mother was Rabab. We had Abu Bakr bin Imam al-Hassan alayhi salam bin Imam al-Hassan alayhi salam. Okay. We had Al-Qasim bin Imam al-Hassan alayhi salam. We also had Abdullah bin Imam al-Hassan alayhi salam, who was killed when the Imam Hussein alayhi salam was about to pass away, and he went to his uncle's side. We had Aoun bin Abdullah bin Ja'far bin Abi Talib alayhi salam, the son of Sayyidah Zainab. He was the son of Sayyidah Zainab alayhi salam. We had Muhammad bin Abdullah. In the Urdu narrative, we have Aoun and Muhammad, the sons of Sayyidah Zainab. But the mother of Muhammad, she was Al-Khawsat, according to many historical opinions. She was not Sayyidah Zainab. But Sayyidah Zainab, she put them together and she raised them. We have Ja'far bin Aqil, the brother of Muslim bin Aqil. Okay. We had Abdul Rahman bin Aqil, another brother of Muslim. We had Abdullah bin Muslim, the son of Muslim, like I mentioned last time. We had Abdullah bin Aqil bin Abi Talib, the brother of Muslim. We had Muhammad bin Abi Sa'id bin Aqil, the nephew of Muslim bin Aqil. These are the 17 names that are well known. Amongst the other people, not all of the people who fought in the Battle of Karbala actually did pass away. So Al-Hasan ibn Al-Hasan bin Ali bin Abi Talib alayhi salam, Hasan ibn Al-Hasan, yani Hasan Jr., the son of Imam Al-Hasan alayhi salam, was also, his name was also Hasan. He went and he fought and he was injured and his hand was cut. Although when the Umayyad army after the Battle of Karbala finished and they started to behead the Shuhada, when they came to him, he was still alive. So when they wanted to behead him, his uncles came and they saved him. They took him to Kufa. They took care of him over there. And after that, later on, they returned him to Medina. And his wife was Fatima bint al-Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam. Amongst the other names that are also mentioned, not as famous, we had Abu Bakr bin Imam Ali alayhi salam. We had Abu Bakr ibn al-Imam al-Hassan, but we also had Abu Bakr ibn al-Imam Ali alayhi salam. We had Ubaidullah bin Abdullah bin Ja'far and Muhammad bin Muslim bin Aqil, okay, Muhammad al-Akbar, the greater Muhammad. We had Abdullah and Muhammad, the sons of Muslim bin Aqil, who were martyred in Karbala. Then we have Muhammad and Muhammad al-Asghar and Ibrahim, the sons of Muslims, the son of Muslim bin Aqil, who are buried in the area of Al-Musayyab. These were taken as captives, like I mentioned last time. They were taken to Kufa for an entire year. They were in prison. And then when they tried to flee, they were killed. Okay. Many other names of the other shuhada, maybe to some of our listeners or some of our viewers, they may just sound like this names going on. And we of course, in order to give right to these names, it would be more productive to talk a little bit about their history in order for these names to have some sort of relevance and importance, or for us to feel their importance. So I will refrain from naming the rest of them, because I believe that they would need to be mentioned with some of their history, but time is short. I thank you very much for, again, this opportunity. And I thank the dear brothers and sisters who have been watching. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept our amal and grant us the tawfiq of learning from Ali al-Akbar alayhi salam this path of activism. Three very important characteristics from which are having the initiative, having the sense of responsibility, then taking the initiative to do something, and having a proper ideology about what life is and a true understanding of what death is.
Thank you very, very much. Inshallah, we would love to have you back to talk further on the other names of the martyrs, inshallah. And we look forward to seeing you again during this series.
Inshallah. Inshallah.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And inshallah, if we didn't get your question asked today, then please do hold on to them and we'll be able to get them answered next time. Thank you again, Sheikh, and assalamu alaikum.
Jazakallah. Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullah. Thank you. Fi amanillah.
Fi amanillah.